Hey, Jason here at From Scratch Ranch, and today I want to talk about a tractor implement that you may be wondering if you need or not. It's not one of those primary implements that you get when you first get your tractor, like a rotary cutter to cut your pastures, or a box blade to manage your gravel driveway or road, or even a front loader that comes on the tractor to haul some materials around the property. This is an implement that is kind of extra. And do you need it or not? Is it worth it? So stay tuned. So first, let's talk about what it is. Exactly what kind of wood chipper do we have and all the specs about it and how it works. This is the Land Pride WC1504 4-inch wood chipper. It'll chip up to a 4-inch branch, which is really, really good. They have a 1503 for a 3-inch branch, but if your tractor is large enough to handle a 4-inch, go for the 4-inch. You'll get much more use out of it, especially if you've got bigger branches around your property you're trying to clean up. So this wood chipper has a 3-point hitch system that connects to the back of the tractor here, and it makes it a lot easier if you've got the quick hitch to just clip that right on. I can back right up, hook on, and close it. I don't have to deal with all of the manual hookups to this thing. And then it's powered by the PTO. So that just connects right in the back of the tractor and gives it nice power. The 1504 needs a tractor that has power of at least 20 to 50 or 25 to 50 horsepower. But in order to get the maximum amount of power out of this thing, you need to have a minimum of 35 horsepower tractor to run it. We have the L4701, so it's a 47 horsepower. So that is plenty. The hopper, I believe, is 22 inches wide. So it's a pretty large hopper for some pretty big branches, and it takes it in nicely. So it has these safety flaps to keep debris from shooting back out at you. And then there's the blade. There's one of the blades. There's 4 blades on this. Hardened steel, 4-inch blade, 4-inch opening there. So it does a really, really nice job. The chute is adjustable, so it moves around 270 degrees around, depending on where you want to aim the chute to a pile on the ground or spreading it around. So that's a nice feature there. To get access to the blades, to sharpen them and change them out, it's pretty easy. They made it really, really easy with this one bolt right here, where you just undo that one bolt. And this is a handle. You just lift this up. It's on a hinge over on this side right here, and it just pops right open. And that's also super useful for when it gets clogged up. And I have done that, and I'll demonstrate what that looks like, because when you do cedar like this, where the needles haven't dried and fallen off, it easily gets clogged up right in here and bound up all the way up. And you can reach your hand down in there and kind of pull some out, but this whole thing will fill up with those kind of wet needles. And so I'll show you how to fix that. All right, before we hook this thing up and demonstrate how it works, let's talk about why we need it. What are the reasons we use this wood chipper for? The first main reason we need a wood chipper is because we have a lot of woods. A lot of woods. We have a heavily wooded property, 47 acres, 40 of it is heavily wooded. So we have branches coming down all the time that we need to clean up, whether it's on our current trails or on the trees that are on the edge of our pasture here. That's one main reason to clean up branches. Second reason is when you have woods like this, like I do, where they're overgrown all the way to the ground here, and I'm clearing out this underside right here. You'll see like this oak tree here and the cedar trees all along there. I'm clearing all of this out like I did already right here for where I'm going to put my sawmill. And this creates a lot of limbs that need to go somewhere. And so your 3 options. One, you pile them up and you burn them, and that creates a lot of smoke pollution. Or you drag them into the woods, or you can chip them and cut up the bigger pieces for firewood. As I work my way along the edge of my woods here, you can see right here, this really opened up. I just did this recently. I didn't capture it on film, but you can see it's really cleared out under here. I really like it. Our house is going to go like right here. Once we start building that, we are getting closer. We're getting closer. So hopefully we'll get ground broke on that this summer sometime. But this area right here was really, really overgrown. And I wanted to lift the canopy up a bit and give us more space here to get through. And then also, you know, it just expands our pasture out a bit. Also brings some more light into our trails here in the edge of the woods, and then just makes it look nicer around where the house is gonna go. Keeps also coyotes from hiding out in this underbrush here. And our chickens, you know, are just right over here, so that will help eliminate those hiding places. Another reason I'm clearing some of this stuff out is you can see this oak tree right here. Huge old growth oak tree that was getting strangled by that cedar tree right there. So by eliminating all of those lower branches and kind of clearing this out, this will actually make this oak tree a lot healthier. And also it's really nice to look at. Some nice big branches where we could, you know, hang a swing from, or some hammocks in between these trees in the shade. Since most of our land up here where the working ranch part is at, the barn and the arena and the pastures, is, you know, no shade. There's no shade up here at all. So we've been planting trees, but right now, you know, this will work as a great spot to put a hammock in and just kind of hang out in the shade. So you can just imagine how much debris cleaning that all out created. It was a lot of branches, but those branches work really, really well when you chip them for mulch. There's lots of reasons you need mulch on a ranch or a farm or a homestead. So since we don't really have any trees up on the main area up here for shade, we've been planting some to create shade and, you know, from a landscaping standpoint, so it looks nice. I've got some maple trees up here that we've planted. I've done some previous videos where we planted those when we put this fence in that pasture area. And around these new trees, I need mulch. The mulch is important for not only the nutrients that it'll create as a compost down, but also for keeping the ground moist, especially in the summer months when it starts getting really hot. And when it rains once in a while, then that mulch, those wood chips, will retain the moisture in the ground to help, you know, keep that tree watered throughout the drier months. I'm using all of the cedar mulch for the trees and any landscaping and trail work that we're doing. I don't want to use the cedar mulch in the garden or any areas where we're going to be growing vegetables or apple trees or anything like that, because the cedar might be a little too acidic for the garden, and also cedar rust problems with the apple trees. I've also got the new maple trees on this side, so I'm lining both sides of our road with a few maple trees along the pasture lines here. I've also got my magnolia trees that I need to remulch those. And then all my pines, I got that loblolly pine there, the yellow, southern yellow pine, and then the eastern white pines down beyond. Down this way, I've got the two eastern white pines, and then down further, all the way down, there are some loblollies. Also at our entrance, we've done a little bit of landscaping there, where I've used the post tops that we cut off from our wood horse fence, the 4-board horse fence, and kind of buried those in to create a border around that area. And we put some of the landscaping fabric down to keep the grass and weeds down. Now I just need to mulch on top of that. And we have some black-eyed Susans and some daisies and other decorative sort of flowering plants in that area. And on the front side, we're gonna do the same. Dig all this grass out, and we've got some lilies that are growing. And we want to get this all nice and cleaned up and landscaped and looking nice. All right, so now we'll jump in the buggy here and we'll go for a ride down into the woods, and I'll show you our trail and where we are cutting a bunch of trees that can be used, a lot of these saplings that we're gonna like chip up for the garden. So this is where I've been clearing our trail out, and what's happening is I'm getting piles and piles of saplings. See right down here that I'm just putting on the side of the trail. And I'm gonna come back and pick all those up and take them up to the chipper and create some nice good hardwood mulch. Here's another pile. So as you can see, you know, all this work of clearing out this trail so I can get the buggy down here and the horses and whatnot is creating a lot of debris that I want to get cleaned out and use for a good purpose. There's nothing like having an endless supply of mulch that you can use in your garden or your landscaping and for composting. It's one of the necessary things on a homestead to have. It's easy as that, just pick it right up. Done. Otherwise, without the quick hitch, I'd have to connect these into the actual arms that come out here and a 3-point top link into here. So that's a lot of pins and stuff to pull in and out. This one's easy. Pick it up and go. So I moved in a position, and then now I need to connect the shaft onto the PTO here. And this one's got a push-pull, so you can see it pushes down, and then it also pulls up. The inside collar there goes up. So I've got to get that on just right, straight. You may not be able to see, but it takes a little finagling. There we go. So once I got it on to the end, that inside collar, I push forward and then push the whole thing forward, hopefully. There we go. And then now I pull back on it, make sure it's locked on. So it's all the way on, and you want to make sure you pull back just to make sure it's locked on, because if it's not, it'll spin right off. And that wouldn't be good. I'm gonna start the tractor and engage the PTO. Something's gonna go wrong though, watch this. Okay, tractor started, my throttle's all the way low. I'm gonna go to engage the PTO down here, so that way the chipper will start working. I engaged it, but the tractor stopped. And that's because there's a safety mechanism in the seat here that you can't run the PTO unless you're sitting in the seat. So if I wanted to, like I'll start the tractor again, I'll engage the PTO. Okay, PTO's going, and the chipper is running. But now I gotta get off the tractor so I can start throwing limbs in. As soon as I do that, it disengaged, shut down the tractor, and it's a safety device because in the seat, once I got out of the seat, the PTO can't run. So in order to enable the PTO to run without sitting in the seat, all you gotta do is push the seat forward, like that. It disengages the safety device down here. Start it up, and then you can engage the PTO. It's turning, no one's in the seat. I can throttle up, start chipping. Okay, so all of this green cedar here, it can go into the chipper, but it is not recommended because these green needles will clog up inside the chipper in there. They'll just get all bound up and clogged up in there. We're gonna do it though. We are gonna chip up all of this green cedar here just so I can show you how to unclog this, because it took me a while. I thought I screwed myself when I first did this, and it got all bound up in there and I was so nervous. So I don't want you to be nervous about that, because I'm gonna show you that you can unclog this fairly easily. All right, so let's get chipping. the last branch. It clogs up. All right, well, okay. I just chipped that entire pile that was here, and it's all gone. It made that big pile there. Most of it was green, and I was doing it with the intention of clogging this thing up so I can show you how to unclog it. And I went through that entire pile thinking, wow, this thing's really chugging along. It might be because it wasn't fresh cut and put in there. This has been sitting here maybe a week. We've had some rain, but it has, I guess it has dried out somewhat. So it actually went through it quite well. But I'm gonna show you anyways, because it seemed to clog up just a little bit towards the end there. Okay, so to unclog this thing, sometimes you can just reach in here and make sure it's off, you know, but you can reach in here and yep, sure enough, that means it's pretty jammed up. But you can pull out as much as you can from here, and actually that was it. It was just kind of clogged up right there. So that was easy, but a lot of times it gets jammed up all the way down, and that's when you have to actually take this top off of here. And to do that, it's this bolt right here. It's a 3/4 inch socket, and you know, just pull this bolt off of here. Like so. And then this just lifts up. And then you can see inside the blades for one. So here's your blades here. So I've got 4 blades in here. And this turns, right? And it actually goes this way. And you can see how it's getting jammed right here. Well, this will bust through, but it'll start piling up right in here, and the chute will fill up. And so you just need to open this up and start just pulling that out, loosening that all up, you know, and just clearing out all of the green stuff that might be in here. And you can kind of see there's this notch here, and right here, that's where it kind of breaks it up. So when it piles up there, accumulates, that breaks it up when it comes through, but it's still not enough sometimes, and it gets jammed up in here. And a lot of times, like I said, a stick might get stuck in here depending on the way it goes through, if it doesn't cut it up, and a stick gets up in there and kind of jams the rest of the stuff. So that's how you do that. It's easy. I mean, I was really worried that I broke my machine, got it all clogged up, and wasn't sure what I was going to do when I first bought this thing. Now that I've used it a lot, you know, I've been able to unclog it if it's done that, but preferably I just let it sit. It looks like a week is enough. You let it sit for a week and it dries out enough to at least, you know, get through this thing. Okay, so then you just put this back. That's also how you would change out your blades, or sharpen them. You know, pop them off there, sharpen them, put them back on. We'll put this back on and we'll get to our next project, which is some dry cedar branches, some big branches that we'll put through here that will demonstrate how powerful this thing is with, you know, 4-inch, up to 4-inch branches, and the nice wood chips that it will create for you. What we've done so far has been kind of small, you know, it's just some really small limbs, and you can see that it's done a lot of, you know, really fine, and, you know, the greens that are in there still. You know, this isn't very good for decorative landscaping. It's still definitely good for composting and for, you know, underneath to hold moisture and stuff like that. But we're going to want to get some really good dry cedar to put through here for our landscaping around our trees, so it looks good. Let's go cut some bigger, thicker cedar limbs and put this thing to the test on the size, the width of the limb, and also the length. So I'm taking the tractor out into the woods onto the trail because I'm going to use the front loader to load all the, you know, branches and stuff that we're going to cut down and carry them back over here. It's just easier to pile them up in that front loader and then dump them over here.
Man always had stories about the city life and the crazy nights. Figure I should probably give it a try. Maybe check it out, see what it's all about. But the traffic was fast and the money was slow. The people I met you never get to know. I kinda miss this place I used to live back home. 'Cause up here it's breakneck, paycheck, rat race, what's next? I'm tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think we're going back where I came from, where everybody knows.
So not bad. Not bad for the weed whacker, the steel weed whacker with the attachment for trimming limbs. I mean, that could just cut through a good 5-6 inch, thickness there. I do have my chainsaw, I could get that out here, but since I'm already using this, it'll work just as well. So trees like this, which it gets down to probably around 5 inches, maybe 6 all the way at the bottom, that's too big for the chipper. And what I'm looking for also is anything less than 4 inches, because something that's 4 inches or more, I'm going to use that if it's still good quality as a, and not rotting or whatever, as a post. I can use that as a fence post. And we need a lot of them to do a lot of fencing. So what I can do is cut, say right about here, and that curved part, which is useless, and that gets to about 4 inches about right here. So that'll fit through that chipper. So I'm gonna cut that probably right here, get that in the chipper, and the rest of this I'll cut down, and we can use that as a fence post.
I guess the slow life, it can just ride like a bonfire on a cool night. Yeah, you can keep your 9 to 5, 'cause I'm happy with the simple life. I think I'm going back where I came from, where everybody knew my name, and all my friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, you can keep your 9 to 5, 'cause I'm happy with the simple life. Oh Lord, you can keep your 9 to 5.
Okay, well, we got all of those cedar branches all cleaned up, and I've got them dumped here. And that should be enough to get the landscaping up front that we want to do done. I do have a couple big pieces right down here. So this one here, yeah, I mean, it's around 4 inches or so, and then it curves and gets smaller. Not a huge branch, but it's something. This one here, yep, that's about 4 inches. That should fit. As far as safety goes, when running this thing, obviously eye protection. The other thing is ear protection. I've got these are the 3M work tunes. Just picked them up on Amazon. These work great. I love it because Bluetooth, right to my phone, play some music, and also protect my ears from any damage, because this thing is loud, especially as it's chipping that wood. It gets really, really, really loud. So I'll put a link down below for that, for Amazon. The other thing that I've got here is gloves. These gloves here, any gloves will work, but I really like these gloves. These are the Intra-Fit vibration. It says right in the palm, if you can see that vibration. And these are anti-vibration gloves. The reason I like these for when I'm chipping the wood, and you'll see this as I put these long branches in, once it's going in, and it's self-feeding, but at the same time, you kind of got to help it once in a while, especially if it's like cedar here where the branches are all over the place, and kind of, curving here and there. You kind of got to work it and push it down in. And when it catches, it really vibrates a lot on the hand. So if you got just regular gloves on, it might hurt a little bit on the palm of the hand a bit. It's nice to have the anti-vibration gloves. They help out a lot. Okay, we'll get our safety gear on and start chipping. So I've been using the loppers to like where I've got this big V like this where it won't fit the hopper to cut them, like so. But the other option, if it's small, like this right here, where this won't fit in there because it gets caught up, I can use this right here and just pop it. Easy as that. So here's another good example, like this branch here. A lot of times I can jam it in there. That's why the anti-vibration gloves are important, because I can jam it in there and bust that off, or it'll like chew it up to that point and then break as it goes. But sometimes it just doesn't work, so I gotta use the loppers or that loop over there to break it off. Right off. That one's good. Are making this beautiful wood chips for the garden or for the landscaping. I mean, that's really nice wood chips. I mean, this stuff is just random sticks like this that you just pick up off the yard, and it makes this beautiful mulch. Why the gloves, safety, and work it because all that gnarliness in these limbs. Sometimes I can jam it in there just enough to break those limbs down below. Push hard enough. That's why mulch of the cedar is just a lot of work. It's brutal on the body. So look at my arms. I should be wearing long sleeves, but it's too hot. Here's a big guy. Let's try him. Yeah, way easier than the cedar. Look at that. Look at that. That is some good wood chips there. All right, you can see here we made quite a bit of mulch, chipping all of those hardwoods, and we're gonna, put that out in the garden here, and that will help keep the weeds down and also moisture and compost a bit and add nutrients to the soil. So now we're gonna head back to the cedar pile of mulch that we just created, and I'm gonna scoop that up, a couple buckets of that, and bring it out to the front entrance area. Pitchfork is the best for this kind of thing. All right, as you can see behind me, the sun is setting. The day is almost over. It's been a long day, a lot of work. So the question is it worth it? Is the wood chipper worth getting? For me, yes. Even though mine was around $2,000 or so for a 4-inch WC, Land Pride WC1504, for me, it was worth it. For you, it may not. It depends on how much you're going to use it. And, for me, it's going to pay out maybe in a couple of years if I had mulch delivered, fuel costs the way they are right now. I don't know. I just like the fact that I can make my own and not have to worry about running out of it or being stingy with the 10 or 15 bags I picked up from Lowe's. So as you can see here, we just did all this, and I can just pile it on as deep as I want because I can. That's what I love about it. So is it the right thing for you? I don't know. You got to make that decision. I would not recommend this as the first implement you buy because you're going to probably need a rotary cutter and a box blade and the front loader, obviously. So I would buy those first. If you've got the funds, yeah, get it. It is definitely worth it. Love using it. It's worth it for me, and I'm glad I've got it. So hopefully this helped you make your decision if you were trying to decide whether to get one or not. And I do recommend the Land Pride WC1504 or 3, but preferably the 4. You can get that bigger limb that will go through that. Okay, so until next time, keep living the dream.